Hello, I'm Carmen and welcome to the Featherweight Shop. Today is part 3, our final tutorial in a series on how to maintain and repair your featherweight light. In part 1, we did some basic cleaning of the light wires while they were still attached to the machine. And then in part 2, we went more in depth and showed you a fairly simple procedure to actually remove and maintain and repair any damage to the light wires. But sometimes, even after these maintenance practices, you can still have a light that doesn't work or flickers while sewing. So in this tutorial, we'll cover a list of possible solutions to fix a faulty or flickering light. Even though we covered this in tutorials 1 and 2, faulty wiring is one of the most common reasons for a flickering light. That's why we recommend you go through the steps in parts 1 and 2 of these tutorials to ensure that your wiring is in good shape and is working properly. Now, it is possible that the switch itself is faulty, but it's not too common. If your switch wiring is broken, or if it looks burned or in some other way looks damaged, you can get an original replacement by following the link below. If your light doesn't work at all, the most common reason is that the light bulb itself is burned out. The solution, of course, is to replace the bulb. We do carry the original incandescent light bulbs, but we find they get extremely hot and are energy inefficient. So we highly recommend replacing the incandescent one with one of our LED light bulbs. LED lights only get warm to the touch, and they won't burn you like the incandescent lights can. Plus, they use much less electricity and are amazingly bright. They come in both bright white and warm light. Having a loose bulb in the socket has long been one of the top culprits in the annoying flickering light world. Check to see that your bulb is firmly seated, and it just pushes in and turns clockwise about 1/8 of a turn, and that locks it in place. The light bulb and the socket have to work together to make your light work properly. These two metal contact points on the bulb press up against these two terminal pins inside the socket. The socket pins actually have tiny springs inside, so they press back firmly against the light bulb contacts, and that completes the electrical circuit to give you light. But the contacts can get worn and start wiggling inside their base. Sometimes, an older incandescent light bulb will have spent enough years inside one of these wiggly bases that it actually matches up just enough so that the light works. But then, occasionally when you put a newer light inside, like an LED, even though the base is the exact same size, the new contacts are just different enough from the old light that they won't match up together, and you get a flickering light or no light at all. The contacts should look clean, and you should be able to press them in without them wiggling around in their socket. If your socket looks cracked or broken, or if the contacts are burned or missing, or if the pins wiggle, or if it won't press in at all because the spring is broken inside and heat fused, you should then replace it. Our replacement sockets include the entire socket assembly along with the heat-resistant insulated wire leads. This heat-resistant plastic replaces the older lead sheath that came in the original featherweights. When you order a replacement, be aware that these replacements only work for featherweight lights with the lead sheath. This means the replacements do not work for white or tan featherweights, 221Ks after about 1950, or 222 free arm featherweights. If you have light socket issues with one of these machines, just contact us for an original replacement. If the socket looks good and you still have flickering, another option is to slightly modify the contacts on the bulb itself so they can better match the pin terminals in the socket. If that's the case, Here are 5 things you can try. First, a little corrosion can build up on the light bulb leads, or there can be a waxy coating on the leads, and that might prevent good contact. Rub the light bulb back and forth on a clean cloth, then replace the light and see if that helps. Second, notice how pointed the leads are on the newer bulbs compared to the older incandescent bulbs. You can flatten these leads out on the newer bulbs by lightly sanding them down so they have more exposed surface area to match your socket leads. Third, it is possible to increase the surface area on your bulb leads by adding a tiny bit of solder to them, so that they can make better contact inside the socket. Fourth, if the light wiggles around, you can put a wrap or two of electrical tape around the outside of the bulb base, and that'll make it more secure. And of course, the 5th thing is just to replace the old socket with a new one. That's a list of some of the most common solutions for fixing a flickering featherweight light. Of course, there's always new things that can come up, so if you still are experiencing some issues or just have a question, give us a call. We're always happy to help. Have a great day.